Hello teachers, learners, and parents. Sir Jeff po, at your service. Alam nyo ba na meron tayong website na tinatawag na DepEd Commons? Ang DepEd Commons ay binuo upang gawing accessible ang pagtuturo at pag-aaral dito sa ating bansa gamit lamang ang inyong mga smart devices gaya ng cellphones, tablets, at computers. Dito ay maaari nating ma-access ang iba't ibang learning materials mula sa Department of Education. Meron itong mga interactive materials, electronic self-learning modules, at instructional video lessons mula sa DepEd TV na tiyak na makatutulong sa pag-aaral ng mga mag-aaral galing ka man sa public o private school. Walang problema dahil welcome ang lahat dito. Para ito sa mga guro, magulang at mga mag-aaral mula sa kinder hanggang grade 12, alternative learning system o ALS, at pati na rin ang special education. At huwag kang mag-alala dahil kahit walang load ay maaari mong ma-access ang mga learning materials. Tama! Libre ito. Ang kailangan mo lamang gawin ay i-on ang iyong data at buksan lamang ang iyong browser at i-type ang commons.deped.gov.ph. Alam na ba ng iyong mga kasamahang guro o mag-aral ang tungkol sa DepEd Commons? I-share mo na ang video na ito upang matuto rin sila kung paano gagamitin ang DepEd Commons sa mabilis at napakadaling paraan. Muli, ito po si Sir Jeff at kita-kits po tayo sa DepEd Commons. Paalam!
Magandang araw! Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETULay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETULay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng DepEd Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del B. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na Pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETULay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. This is Teacher Rev for another math venture. Yan. Are you excited? So let me share my screen and let's start. Yan. We only have 40 minutes, so we're going to maximize all our time together. Let me share my screen with you. Okay. Yan. Okay. Let's have this. Okay, there you go. Okay. So I know you're seeing this already. We're going to talk about random variables. Yan. So we started talking about random variables last week, if I'm not mistaken. So alam na natin ano ba ang discrete random variable at ano ba ang continuous random variable. In that case, since we know this already, we're going to continue our discussion for this time. What will be our objective? Ano yung gusto nating matackle today? So I limited to 2 objectives, and the 2 objectives are, number 1, we're going to illustrate a probability distribution for a discrete random variable and its properties, which we already did last week, kaya lang medyo bibigyan pa natin siya ng emphasis and para mas maintindihan nating mabuti kung paano tayo makakapag-create ng probability distribution for discrete random variable. Then, we're going to compute the probability corresponding to a given random variable. So, computes the probability distribution. Let's start with one example. This example was given last week, but we were not able to discuss it further. Okay. So, what's good about statistics is meron tayong mga particular scenario na itatackle for us to be able to understand more about random variable. Okay, let's have this problem. In a computer laboratory, the teacher wants to find out if there is a defective computer. Suppose 3 computers were tested. So why is it highlighted? Yes, it's important that we know about the thing that, okay, we have 3 computers to be testing. Okay, this will be tested at random. She asked one of her computer system servicing students to list all possible outcomes, such that D represents the defective computer and N represents the non-defective computer. Okay, in this case, we are going to let X be the random variable for the number of defective computers. So, ibig sabihin, ang hahanapin natin, in this case, is yung possibility na may defective na computer in a particular outcome. Anong importante? Importante alam natin na, okay, 3 computers ang ititest natin. That's one. What else do we know? The defective computer, we represent it as D. The non-defective, we represent it as N. Ngayon, in all the possible outcomes, ilan kaya ang defective sa bawat outcome na makakome up natin? Okay, let's see how we're going to go about that. Okay, now let's take a look at this scenario. It says here that in a given, we let X be the random variable for the number of defective computers. Then, let's illustrate the probability distribution of the random variable X. So, una, dito magsisimula ang lahat. Okay, i-disregard natin yung in doon. Let X na tayo. Okay, so, we let X be a random variable of the number of defective computers. So, basically, we're going to identify the number, how many defective computers do we have in each outcome? First, let's identify all possible outcomes. Okay, I'm not going to preempt that, but I'm going to give you already the possible outcomes. Okay, yan yung mga possible outcomes. Bakit 3, teacher? Remember, we're going to select 3 items. So if we're going to select 3 items, that means we're going to identify how many defective computers do we have for each possible outcome. Sa unang outcome, may defective ba? Wala. So, anong ilalagay natin? We're going to have 0 defective for this one. Okay, teacher. Gets ko na. Ilan ang defective sa pangalawa? I already highlighted that. On the second possible outcome, there is one case that there will be a defective. Okay. Sa pangatlong outcome, may isang defective. Sa pangatlong outcome, there's also 1 defective. Pero on the next outcome, there are 2 defective items which is already highlighted in red, no? Okay, so alam na natin yan, teacher. Okay, that's good. Yung next naman, dalawa din. Yung next, dalawa. At yung last, lahat defective. Ayan pala yung mga possible outcomes at ito yung mga values na pwede. Ilan yung defective sa bawat possible outcome. So, it means that the values of the random variable are actually 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, teacher. So, alam na natin yung values ng random variable. How do we go about it? Okay. Now, if this is the case, ibig sabihin, X represents 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we know that already, teacher. Paano po yung probability? Now, the probability of an X occurring, ilang chances lahat or ilan lahat-lahat ang items sa sample space natin. There are 8 items in our sample space. So if there are 8 items, from the 8 items, how many outcome resulted to no defective computer? That would be 1 out of 8. Which is also the same as 0.125. So, ibig sabihin, 1 out of 8 or 0.125 is an outcome which has no defective item. Now, paano naman if there's one defective item? How many appearance or how many outcome occurred where there is one defective item? Kung bibilangin natin, ilan yung may one defective item? We have 1, 2, 3. Therefore, the probability that there will be one defective item is 3 out of 8 or 0.375. Okay. Ganun pala siya. Yes, that's how you're going to get the probability. Ano yung probability na dalawang defective? Again, let's take a look from the output. How many outputs will have two defective items? In this case, there are 1, 2, and 3 again. So that means the probability is 3 over 8 or 0.375. Okay, what's the next thing? The probability that all will be defective. In that case, 3 of the items selected will be defective. There's only one chance that that will happen. Therefore, this is equal to 1 over 8 or 0.125. Is this clear? Now, when we form this table, the one below, you can actually write it in this form or pwede namang per column. Okay, so you can have 2 columns or 2 rows. Okay. Now, if we have this is what we call the probability distribution of a discrete random variable x. Discrete siya kasi yung situation kanina is a random variable x is a discrete random variable. Now, why is it a discrete random variable? It is because it is something that is countable, right? Okay. Naalala nyo pa yung pinag-usapan natin last week when we talk about a random variable which can be measured, then that is, or which is measurable, then that is something that we call continuous random variable. Okay. So what else or how else do we call a probability distribution of a discrete random variable x? We can also call it as probability mass function or PMF. Okay. So are you getting this? Okay, I hope you're getting this, no? Now, discrete probability distribution has its own properties, which we discussed last week. We are just going to reiterate it this week. Notice that all the probabilities are less than 1 or from 0 to 1. Values ranges from 0 to 1 and it is positive. Sometimes they call it as a non-negative property of a discrete probability distribution. Basically because it's positive and its value ranges from 0 to 1. Yan yung isang property ng discrete probability distribution. Is there any other property? Yes, there's another one. Ano pa po yung isa? Yung isa, ang sabi dyan, the sum of all probabilities of all values of the random variable must be equal to 1. So kung i-add natin si 1 over 8, let's just use the 8, no? Because it's easier kapag fraction. 3 over 8, tsaka 1 over 8. If we add all of this will be equal to 8 over 8, which is equal to 1. So basically, we have our answer. So, okay, teacher. So, alam na po namin yan. We discussed that last week. Okay, that's good that you can recall. I hope you can actually recall, no? The next thing that we're going to identify is, let's have examples based from what we know. Okay. Again, for us to determine if the distribution is a discrete probability distribution, para masabi natin, yung distribution na yan ay discrete probability distribution, it should satisfy 2 properties. Ano yung dalawang properties na yon? Una, kailangan ng values ng probability natin ranges from 0 to 1. Okay. That is satisfied here. Okay, check tayo dun sa unang property. Property 1, check. But the second property dictates that the sum of all probabilities must be equal to 1. So if we are going to add 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 and so on until the last value, let's see if the sum is 1. So in this case, the sum is equal to 5/3. If the sum is 5/3, that means we did not satisfy the second property. Because anong sabi sa second property? Sabi ang sum ay equal sa 1. If that's the case, then ito ba ay discrete probability distribution? The answer would be no. This is not a discrete probability distribution. Okay, so because that's the instruction, we are supposed to identify kung yung distribution na to ba ay discrete probability distribution o hindi. Based on our conclusion, na-satisfy niya yung una, check, na kailangan ang values ay from 0 to 1, ranges from 0 to 1. Check yan kasi lahat yan ay proper fraction. Pero yung pangalawa, hindi na-satisfy kasi ang sum nito ay 5/3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kapag 5/3 siya, hindi siya equal sa 1, hindi niya na-satisfy yung second property. If either of the two properties are not satisfied, then the item is not considered as discrete probability distribution. Okay, let's go to the next item. How about the next item, teacher? Is the distribution a discrete probability distribution? Check ulit natin. Kailangan masatisfy niya again yung dalawang property. Property 1 and property 2. Let's identify if it will actually satisfy the given properties. Okay. Si property 1, are all the items ranges from 0 to 1? Yes. So satisfied ang property 1. Next, when we add all the items, is it equal to 12? Yan naman yung next question natin. No? So, tingnan natin. 0.35, 0.12 plus 0.28 plus 0.25 plus 0.35, that is actually equal to? Yes, it's equal to 1. Kasi ang 0.35 tsaka 0.25 ay 65. Ang 0.28 plus 60, ang 0.28 at 0.12 ay 0.4, then ang total niyan ay 1. So it satisfies the second condition. So if you're going to ask me, is this distribution a discrete probability distribution? Then my answer would be yes, it's a discrete probability distribution because it satisfies the two properties. So I hope you get it kung paano natin in-apply yung property in a given distribution. Okay, let's have another example. Paano naman kung ang atake sa problem ay ganito, teacher? Consider the random variable x, whose probability mass function is described by the table. So it was given that the distribution is called probability mass function. So kung itong distribution na to ay probability mass function, therefore automatic na-satisfy niya yung dalawang property. Si property 1, satisfied niya, at si property 2, na-satisfy niya din. So the only thing that we're going to consider here is, ang only thing na dapat natin i-consider dito is, ano yung nawawala? Okay. Now, if you're going to ask me, ano yung nawawalang item, what do I know about this? I know that this is a probability mass function. Therefore, ang values ng lahat ng items dito ranges from 0 to 1. Okay. So, alam ko lahat ng probability na makukuha ko dito ranges from 0 to 1. So, yung value na nawawala, etong may question mark, ranges from 0 to 1. Okay, we're sure about that. What else do we know? Alam natin na since probability mass function siya, ibig sabihin, ang sum ng lahat ng value ay equal saan? Equal sa 1. Okay, we already have an idea on how we're going to go about this, no? So, anong gagawin natin? So, kung ang total niya 1, pag inad ko si 0.1 plus 0.2 plus 0.1 plus 0.3 plus yung nawawala, ang total niya ay 1. Tama ba? In short, I can actually get the complement of this. Paano yun, teacher? 1 minus the sum of 0.1 plus 0.2 plus 0.1 plus 0.3, which means that the item that's missing is equal to 1 minus 0.7. So, the missing value is equal to 0.3. So, ganun yung atake dun sa problem na yan. Again, anong focus or core nung discussion natin dito? Or yung pagsagot natin dito? The focus of this discussion is still using the properties of discrete probability distribution or probability mass function. Okay ba? Okay, go tayo sa example 3. This time, paano kung ang binigay is in a form of a function? Yan. Determine whether the following can serve as probability distribution of a random variable x. Paano yun? Again, kailangan masatisfy natin na ang sum ng probability ay 1 at the same time, yung mga probability na makukuha natin should be from 0 to 1. Okay. So we still have to satisfy the same condition. Yes. How are we going to do that? We are given that the value of x is 1, 2, and 3. Therefore, the probability of x equal to 1 is equal to 1 plus 1 over 9. Let's just substitute x with 1. At ang magiging sagot dito ay 2 over 9. Okay. Is 2 over 9 a value from 0 to 1? Yes, so it satisfies the first property. Let's go to the second value. So we're done with 1. This time, let's try 2. The probability of x equal to 2 is equal to 2. Again, we replace x with 2 plus 1 over 9. And the answer is 3 over 9 or 1/3. Will 1/3 satisfies the first property? The answer is yes. Yan, nasatisfy niya din yung first property. What about if the probability of x is equal to 3? Then 3 plus 1, again, we replace x in the expression with 3 over 9. Anong 3 plus 1? 4 over 9. Is 4 over 9 between 0 to 1? Yes. So again, the three probabilities that we solve satisfies the first property. So check. Pwede natin siyang tawagin na probability distribution of random x. Kaya lang, kailangan masatisfy niya rin yung second property. Ano yon? Kailangan ng sum nito ay 1. So, ano kailangan natin gawin? We have to add all the probabilities we acquired. So, I'll just use 3 over 9 kasi ang 1/3 is 3 over 9 rin naman. Plus 4 over 9. 2 plus 3 plus 4 is equal to 5 is equal to 9 over 9, which is equal to what? Equal to 1. Okay? So if it's equal to 1, it satisfies the second property, then the given can represent a probability distribution of a random variable x. So yun. So I've given you 3 scenarios on how we can actually apply the properties that we learned about probability distribution of a random variable x. Okay. Now this time, let's answer the next example. Using the sample space for rolling 2 dice, illustrate a probability distribution for the random variable x representing the sum of the numbers that appears. Okay. If we are going to answer this, then we need to identify or to create a table. Okay. Because what are we going to look? X represent the random variable x represents the what? The sum of how many of the numbers that appear in rolled. Okay. So kailangan pag nag-roll ka ng die, ito yung mga possible, di ba? Pwede kang magkaroon ng combination na 1 yung unang die, 1 yung pangalawang die. 2 yung unang die, 1 yung pangalawang die, and so on. So, if that's the case, paano natin i-represent yung sum? I-identify natin ano ba talaga yung mga sum na makukuha natin pag in-add natin yung mga possible outcomes na mag-a-appear. So, ano yung mga yon? Okay, let's see if we will be able to identify that. Ano gagawin natin? Add natin. Kapag 1 and 1 ang lumabas, 1 at 1 ang lumabas, then what will be the result? Exactly. Kung 1 and 1 ang lumabas, the numbers that appears. So 1 plus 1, that would be 2. Ano ang lalabas? Pag yung unang phase ay 1, yung pangalawang die ay 2, then we're going to have 3. 1 and 3, we're going to have 4. 1 and 4, we're going to have 5. 1 and 5, we're going to have 6. And 1 and 6, we're going to have 7. Okay. Nagigets ko na siya kung paano siya gagawin. Okay. Now, paano naman kung ang nag-appear sa unang die ay 2, sa pangalawang die ay 1? 2 plus 1, that would be 3. Paano kung nag-appear ay parehong 2? Okay. 2 and 2, that would be 4. 2 and 3, that would be 5. 2 and 4, you can actually see pattern here. Kaya lang kailangan, sige, maging promising tayo dun sa fact na kinukuha natin yung sum niya, and let's not rely on the patterns, no? 2 and 4 is 6, 2 and 5 is 7, and 2 and 6 is 8. Okay, alam ko nakikita nyo na yung pattern, and it's good. It's good if you can actually see the pattern already. I'm happy for that. So kapag 3 naman ang nasa unang die at 1 ang nasa pangalawa, then the sum of that would be 4. Okay. Then 3 and 2 would be what? 3 and 2 would be 5. 3 and 3, 6. 3 and 4, 7. 3 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, we're almost there, teacher. 6 plus 1, 7, 8, 9. Okay, hindi ko siya masulatan, pero 10, okay, 11, and 12. So basically, these are all the values that will appear when we add all the faces that will appear in a die. Okay, so I summarized that for you already. Yan na yon. Prepare ko na siya. Now, if this is the case, paano natin gagawin yung probability distribution? Yan. What are we going to do? We're going to have mamak, and this will be the P of X. Okay. Now, what outputs do I have? I have an output of, remember, I started here for the sum. Okay, para makita nyo, no? Yan, ito yung mga outputs ko. I have 8, 9, 10, 11, hanggang 12. Okay, madami-dami to. So, I'll have 2. I started with 2, 3, 4, an outcome of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. Now, what is the probability that 2 will appear as an answer? How many all in all do I have here? I know that I have 36 in my sample space. 36 elements in my sample space. Why 36? But out of that, 2 appeared 1. That means that's 1 out of 36. That's the probability of getting a 2 as a sum. Okay. Now, next. Sorry. 4 times naman si 5. So, 4 out of 36 or 1 over 9. Okay, I'm getting this now, teacher. How about number 6? 6 appeared 5 times. So, that's 5 out of 36. I cannot simplify that anymore, so I leave it as it is. How about 7? 7 appeared 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 36 or... So what's the probability? Exactly, 1 over 6. Pag 8 naman, ilang beses nag-appear si 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of 6 or 1, 9. Si 10, 1, 2, 3. 3 out of 36 or 1 over 18. Next, si 11, how many? 11 appeared? Exactly, 2 out of 36 or 1 over 18. Okay. And last, 12. 12 appeared how many times? 1 over 6. So these are 1 over 36. Okay. So these are the probabilities if that's the case. So if I ask you, what is the probability that the sum is less than 3? Kung ang sum ay less than 3, ibig sabihin, 2 yon. Okay. O, so ilan yung chances na yon? 1 out of 36 only. Yan. We'll go back to this later, but basically, if you're asked to construct a probability distribution, this is how we're going to construct the given problem. Okay ba? Naintindihan naman? Okay. Now, let's take a look at the given. Let's recall how do we get the probability of the following events. Getting an even number in a single roll of dice. Sige nga, ano yung probability? Ilan bang even numbers? Exactly. The answer would be 3 over 6 or 1/2. Kasi, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Deck. Okay, from a deck of cards. Bakit kaya siya nawala? Drawn from a deck of cards. Okay. So, ng Jack. 4. Okay, so that would be 4 over 52. Siyempre, simplify natin yan. Ano bang simplest form yan? 1 over 13. Yan. Next, what's the probability of getting a number less than 5 in a single roll of a die? Less than 5 would have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be 4 out of 6 or 2/3. Last would be getting a black king when a card is drawn from a deck of cards. So meaning, pag sinabi nating black king, we're going to have, ilan ba ang king? 4. Kaya lang, out of the 4 kings, dalawa red, dalawa black. So ibig sabihin, it's 2 out of 52 or 1 over 26. Sige, we're able to recall the probability. This time, let's apply how we're going to get the probability of event in a random variable. Considering the given problem, Golden's Bakery is known for its famous Filipino delicacies. Among these foods, which is a native delicious food called kakanin, is a leche puto. The bake shop owner recorded the number of boxes delivered for 10 days is shown. Ayan, pinakita. So sa day 1 hanggang day 10, yan yung number of boxes na nade-deliver. I'm sorry. In that case, yan, the number of boxes and the probability P of X is given. It shows na paano natin gagawin yung ating probability distribution. Alam natin na ilang order ng boxes ang kinuha. Merong 35, may 37, may 40. There's 42. We also have 40 na P of X. Ang probability na 35 boxes ang i-order based on the table is 1 out of 10. Ang probability na 37 ay 2 out of 10 kasi ito yon. So that's 2 out of 10 or 1/5. Yan. Pag 40 naman, ilang 40 ba? Isa lang, 1 out of 10. Ilang 42? 2 out of 10 or 1/5? 1/5 na ilalagay ko. Sa 45, ilang 45? 1, 2, 3. Okay. 3 out of 10. And last, yung 50, 1 out of 10. Okay. If this is the case, I already prepared that for us. Yan. Ano raw ang probability that 40 or more boxes will be and be written as, okay, meron pala. Wait na. 40 boxes will be delivered can be written as X is greater than or equal to 40. Kasi will be the 30, 42, 40 ang binili. So, ibig sabihin, or are delivered. Ano yung probability na 40? At least 37, ang pinakamababang number ng boxes na de-deliver ay 37 at ang pinakamataas ay 50. That means, ang probability na hinahanap natin is from 37 until 50. Sige, I'll show you another way of doing this later, pero gawin muna natin tong longer process. Ano yun? Una, we can get the probability na 37 siya. Yung probability rin na 40 ang binili kasi sabi at least 37 pero hindi not more than 50. Hindi lalagpas sa 50. So that means at least 37 hanggang 50. So yan yung ibig sabihin. Ito yung kukunin natin na probability na 37, 40, probability na 42 ang na-deliver, probability na 45 ang na-deliver, at probability na 50 ang na-deliver. So, ibig sabihin, i-add lang natin lahat ng probabilities na yan. That would mean 1/5 plus 1/10 plus 1/5 plus 3/10 plus 1/10. And the answer is? Oo, tama. The answer is 9/10. But notice, kung kasama to lahat, isa lang ang hindi kasama, 35. Remember, ang probability ng lahat sa probability sa PMF or sa probability mass function ay ilan? Equal sa 1. So in short, para makuha natin yung probability na to, a shorter way of doing it would be, paano? Okay, paano teacher? Paano po natin yun makukuha? We just need to subtract from 1 the probability of getting 35. Will that result to the same answer? Dapat. Kasi nga, siya lang naman yung hindi kasama sa total. So, 1 minus 1/10 is equal to 9/10. So, pareho lang sila. Kayo nang bahala kung ano yung gagamitin nyo doon. Pero, what I'm saying is, ganito yung scenario na pwedeng mangyari in this particular item. Okay. Let's look at letter C. What is the probability that at most 40 boxes will be delivered on a particular day? So 40 boxes will be delivered on a particular day. Okay. At most. Okay. Teacher, may nakalagay at most. So at most 40, meaning the most number that can be delivered is 40. How are we going to write that? We can actually say that the probability of X would be less than or equal to 40 if it's at most 40. 40 will be the highest. Therefore, if that's the case, it will be equal to, at most 40 will have probability of getting 35 delivered plus probability that 37 will be delivered and probability that 40 will be delivered. And we're going to have an answer of 1/10 plus 1/5 plus 1/10. Remember, 1/5 is 2/10. So what would be the final answer? It will be 4/10 or, tama, 2/5 in simplest form. So ang probability na at most 40 boxes ang madideliver in a particular day is 2/5. Next, what would be the probability that less than or equal to 45 will be delivered? Ibig sabihin, if that's the case, we are going to simplify that. That means everything will be included from 45 except 50. Oh, di ba? We can actually do the shorter way. How? We know that the total probability is 1, but everything is included except 50. Hindi siya kasama. So yung probability na 50 ang makukuha, ima-minus na lang natin. Okay. So how are we going to have our answer? 1 minus 1/10. And the answer is 9/10. Pareho lang ba yan pag inad natin to? Okay, let's check. 1/10 plus 2/10, di ba? Remember, 1/5 is 2/10 plus 1/10 plus 2/10 plus 3. So 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1, the answer is still 9/10. Okay ba? So that's how we're going to go about it. So pag tinanong ko, anong probability na less than 45 na boxes ang madidelivered, less than or equal to 45 boxes ang madidelivered, the answer would be 9/10. Okay. Now, what is the probability that 40 plus 50 will be sold or will be delivered? Siyempre, a-add lang natin. Ano ba yung probability na 40 ang madideliver? 1/10. Ano naman yung probability na 50 ang madideliver? 1/10 din. So we have 1/10 plus 1/10. The answer is 2/10 or 1/5. Yan. So there is 1/5 chance that 40 or 50 boxes will be delivered. Yun yung idea behind that. Okay, now let's proceed. We have another example. Okay, but it's already 17, it's already 25. So we'll have a quick item here. What is the probability that at least 2 cell phones were sold? Pag sinabi natin at least 2 cell phones, 2 or more. Tama? Okay. So if it's 2 or more, meaning it's greater than 2, anong gagawin natin? We will simply add 0.25 plus 0.3 plus 0.2. And that will result to 0.75. So there's 75% chance that at least 2 cell phones will be sold in the gadgets zone per day. Yan, in a given day. What is the probability that at most 3 cell phones will be sold? Were sold. Okay. Pag 3 cell phones naman, probability, that means at most 3. 3 or less than 3. So that means, sorry, the answer would be 0.8. Bakit? We're going to add, okay, we're going to add the probability that's 3, 0.3 plus 0.25 plus 0.10 plus 0.15. Yun. So anong probability that at most 3 cell phones were sold? The answer would be 0.8. Okay. We can actually continue with that. What is the probability that at least 1 and at most 4 cell phones were sold? So, from 1 to 4. Pwede natin gawin from 1 to 4. Pwede natin i-add mula 1 hanggang 4. But what's another option, teacher? We can actually subtract 1 minus 0.15. And the answer is 0.85. Okay. Next. Okay, let's just add. O yan, madali lang. I-add lang natin. Anong probability na 2? 0.25. Anong probability na 4? 0.20. Therefore, our answer would be, okay, 0.45. So there's 0.45 or the probability, it would be 45% for this particular case of getting a 2 or a 4. Now, let's see if we were able to identify all the possible items in our objectives. First, nakapag-illustrate tayo ng probability distribution at nabanggit natin yung mga properties niya na i-apply natin a particular distribution. Another would be we were able to compute the probability corresponding to a given random variable. So we reach our objective for today. So I hope to see you next week. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless. Bye. Thank you for listening. Hope you learned something relevant for this day. Okay.
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETULay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan sa Lunes mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETULay free online tutorial session sa Science. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETULay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!